This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
Don't laugh at what he says. Don't just shrug your shoulders and dismiss what he says. Don't say that he's not serious. Don't say he's joking. Don't say, oh, you know, that's Trump. He says crazy stuff. It's not a joke. After 8 years, America, the un-American things he says, the threats he makes, it's not a joke. And they're not things to be dismissed. Just look the other way and just, oh, that's Trump. I know I have a problem in that I take this stuff much too seriously. I mean, I threw away my career to publicly go after Trump 6 years ago. And every day since, I treat this like I'm at war against someone and something that would destroy this democracy that I love. That's the attitude I take into every day as I engage in political warfare every day. So I acknowledge that I'm one extreme in this, in that this is political warfare for me. I do believe Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. And I treat him thus. I treat him that way. Everything he says and everything he does is a threat. And I get really angry when I look at the other end of the extreme, all the other Republicans who just laugh and, oh, that's just Donald, that's just Trump. He says crazy shit to get his voters all worked up. Mitt Romney, the last week or two. Mitt's just so damn disappointing. Mitt asked about these authoritarian threats that Trump once again is making. Donald Trump, over the last few months, has threatened that if he's reelected, he will jail his political opponents. He's threatened that if he's reelected, he will end any media outlet network he doesn't like. He will purposely stop it. Donald Trump threatening to be a dictator from day one. And Romney was asked about it, and Romney just smiled and shook his head. Oh, you can't take that seriously. That's just dismiss it. That's just Donald being Donald. And Romney's not the only one, right? Republicans, almost to a man and a woman, have been saying the same thing the last couple months. Now, there are true believer Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene and a number of others who echo what Trump says. But in the main, most Republicans just dismiss. That's just Trump, they say. And they try to move on and talk about another subject. And by the way, that bothers me. Why would you want to talk about another subject? You have a man who's going to be the Republican nominee for president, who right now has a better than 50-50 chance of getting elected, threatening to be a fucking dictator if he's elected, and you want to talk about something else? Man, if I was a Republican, I wouldn't want to talk about something else. I wouldn't move on to something else. I'd want to focus on Trump. My God, this guy just threatened to be a dictator, an authoritarian, to jail his political opponents if he wins. Man, if I were still a Republican elected official, somebody who they put a camera in front of my face every day, I'd go off on that. I would not allow the interviewer to talk about anything else. You know, I've said this before. Trump was right about something. He was right about how weak, how damn weak the Republican Party was, because he was so able to take it over so easily. They bent to his will so easily. They sold their souls so quickly. And Trump knew they would. And here we are 8 years later. He's been elected president. He barely lost in 2020. He incited, back up, he was the first American president who lost an election and refused to relinquish power, refused to participate in the peaceful transfer of power. He incited a violent attempt to overthrow an American election. And he's going to be the Republican nominee again, and he has a great chance of getting reelected. And here we are with Republicans still not wanting to take him seriously, afraid to take him on. From the moment I came out against Trump 6 years ago, I've had a gazillion Republicans tell me privately, from that moment on, Joe, I agree with what you're saying publicly. I can't say it publicly, but I will. You know, once this Trump thing is over, once the Trump storm blows over, I heard that repeatedly from Republicans privately, that this was just a storm, a tsunami, or tornado, or something that was just going to blow over. It was going to blow over. He'll never get elected. It'll just blow over. He won't get reelected. Once he's not reelected, he'll be gone. It'll just blow over. Well, it hasn't. And it won't. Because now it's consumed that entire political party. And these threats that he makes are not to be laughed at and not to be dismissed. They are to be condemned. And Joe Biden, running for re-election, these threats should be the centerpiece of your campaign. Our democracy against a man who would be a dictator. Run against that and shame every Republican for not taking a side in that. Make it a good week. Joe Walsh here. Joe Walsh White Flag at gmail.com. One word. Joe Walsh White Flag at gmail.com. Thanks. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.